Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Adam Green here with No More News. It's April 29th, 2019. Let's talk about the Chabad shooting that happened in San Diego over the weekend. So, we have my favorite biblical perspective news. Breaking Israel News just came out with an article today saying new revelations about San Diego synagogue shooting on Messiah's festival. It's the rabbi from the Chabad synagogue and the woman that they held the vigil for today and the funeral yesterday. It says that this act of terrorism takes on an end of days significance since it came on the last day of Passover, referred to in Chabad Judaism as, quote, Moshiach's festival. Moshiach's festival. And it says this special feast is called Messiah's Feast, Moshiach's Feast. And then it quotes, this is from Rabbi Berger, the rabbi of King David's tomb on Mount Zion, said that anti-Semitism is growing. He blames the New York Times cartoon that was widely criticized for being blatantly anti-Semitic. Well, they claim any criticism is anti-Semitism, so that's not a surprise, even though the cartoon accurately depicted Trump and Netanyahu's relationship. Quote, one of the largest news sources in the U.S. publishes this horror. Oh my God, this horror. How dare anybody say that Netanyahu leads Trump around like a guide dog? And then a few days later, some animal on two legs walks into a synagogue and kills Jews. So are they calling him an animal because that's what they think of Goyim as cattle, as subhuman, which that's what Chabad believes, that they're divine souls. Non-Jews have satanic souls. They're a level above us. They're God's chosen people. And we're only meant to serve them. We're only here on earth to serve them. I covered it in other videos. Noahide laws exposed in their own words. So, and then it says, the New York Times printed an article saying the attack on Jews was horrible, but at the same time, they did not hesitate to portray Jews as evil. So the cartoon saying that Netanyahu controls Trump, I guess that means it's evil. So any criticism is unacceptable to them. Quote, this is clearly Hashem, that means their God, telling the Jews to come home, to return to Jerusalem, Rabbi Berger said. Quote, and that is because the Messiah is about to make himself known. The sanctity of Israel can protect Jews. So they want all the Jews to make aliyah. They already said, this same website had an article saying that they've reached the messianic tipping point because the majority of Jews in the world, the biggest chunk of Jews, is in Israel. The haters, and this is so funny, the sanctity of Israel can protect Jews, even though they're always saying that they're under threat from all of their neighbors and everything. But the haters of Israel know this. They are taking their last chance to attack the Jews because soon they will not be able to. This is just complete insanity. Berger emphasized that Jews are particularly vulnerable now. He noted that a few weeks ago, this rabbi in Portugal that was 95 and this other rabbi from Brooklyn passed away. And he says that, by the way, who was in Auschwitz and was experimented upon by Nazi Joseph Mengele, which I've heard so many people report of being victims of his experiments that it's unbelievable. But it was true in their minds. Because of chemical burning experiments, he was unable to grow facial hair or have children. And then Rabbi Berger explained the death of these two men leaves the Jews open to attack from a new generation of hatred, like in the days of the Nazis. So this is the mindset of these people. These two rabbis died in Portugal and New York. So now all of the Jews are now, no, they're always talking about how anti-Semitism everywhere and they're victims and they're persecuted. But now that these two rabbis died, now it's getting serious. So the death of these two men leaves Jews open to attack a new generation of hatred, like in the days of Nazis. Rabbi Berger emphasized that Jews had a special weapon to fight Jew hatred. Quote, even Jews who don't move to Israel can come under Hashem's wings if they attach themselves strongly to the nation of Israel. So they say this kind of stuff about having loyalty to Israel. Herzl said that they're one people and that they have this loyalty to Israel. But meanwhile, they're trying to pass laws right now. They already have the official definition of anti-Semitism is questioning their loyalty to Israel. So even though that's what they directs them to do. And I got some more articles I'm going to get to too. I got a bunch of tabs here, but a few more here. For all we know, this shooting happened in San Diego because we didn't take the synagogue shooting in Pittsburgh seriously enough. They weren't able to pass enough anti-Semitism bills. They weren't able to rile up enough sympathy. That's in their words, apparently. And Pittsburgh happened because we didn't take something else serious enough. Yeah, they... Okay, and that's... So next article, we have Chabad Center targeted by gunmen is focused on reaching out to the Jewish community to convert more Jews to Chabad. There they all 4,000 of them, 4,700 of them from 100 countries, photoed in their capital in Brooklyn, Crown Heights. And this is, I'm always talking about Moshiach and their end times prophecy. It's not just a homeland for the Jews. That's only the first step. They have to build the temple and rule the world from the Messiah. That's the end game of Zionism. Anybody that supports Zionism, that's essentially, for all intents and purposes, what they're supporting. And then this article, Moshiach is real. It's real. It's near. Take part with the Rebbe. And in Israel, all over the place, they had this Rebbe. It's the most influential, powerful Chabad Judaism sect in the world. There he is again. Stuff like this you just see everywhere in Israel. And there's Kushner. Kushner is a member of Chabad. There he is with, this is at him at Harvard. He was the vice president of Friends of Chabad. And that ties into Times of Israel. This is from 2017. Report Trump and Kushner foundations donated thousands to Chabad. What do you know about that? Thousands. The Kushner family, some 342,000. Kushner also visited the Rebbe. You can find out a whole bunch more information in the video I did the other day. Chabad and Noahide laws exposed, and meet Jared Kushner's protege, Avi Berkowitz. Includes a lot of that. I've been covering it for a while now if you've been following my channel. So Trump is donating as well to this group. And we have update. San Diego tragedy could have been worse, but for shooter training. So it says, this version of the story includes information on shooter drills the Poway Chabad congregation recently did. Doesn't it seem like every single time we witness a drill? And after the synagogue shooting, which was 6 months to the day before this attack, 6 months, in the same manifesto too, they said that they were going to ramp up and there's all this new funding and security for synagogues, yet they let this kid get through there. But apparently the story is that a good guy with the cop chased him off. And then apparently the kid, even though he wrote in his manifesto that he did the mosque burning and that you can get away with it, and he wanted to do this shooting and get away with it, he apparently got away, but then called 911 and turned himself in. And one more thing on this kid's manifesto. The part that's very surprising to me is he, just like the last synagogue shooter, they were sure to say, people are going to think this is a false flag, but don't believe it. They're schizophrenic. This is real. This kid had a 4.3 GPA, advanced classes. He was a piano genius. He was at Cal State San Marcos University doing nursing school. He's obviously a smart kid. Why, if you have to say this is not a false flag, this is real, maybe he should be smart enough to know that who benefits from this? People are going to be suspicious about this. So why would he go do something that benefits them? Completely counterintuitive, completely counterproductive, completely senseless and stupid. It just doesn't make sense. Who benefits? You have to ask who benefits. And I think this kid was smart enough to know who benefits. Unless, there's been no discussion if he was on pills or anything either, too, which I find interesting that hasn't been talked about yet. It's just the main takeaways are anti-Semitism they need to stamp it out. They need to crack down on anti-Semitism, and white supremacy is the major problem. Those are the big takeaways from this event. So a drill going on. And then we have, after synagogue attack, leaders warn of resurgence of anti-Semitism, and they urge action. What kind of action? More anti-Semitism bills, more hate speech laws, more censorship online, and basically just not allowing any criticism of Chabad. And that's the other thing, is the takeaway is we're talking about white supremacy now is the big danger, the big threat. Meanwhile, Chabad is extremely supremacist. Go check the video I did the other day, Noahide Laws Exposed. It's all in there. Their Messiah rabbi, in his own words, talking about how they're supremacists, their souls are divine, we're like cattle, we're only here to serve them. You've seen it all before. But now the narrative has spun. They're the victims, they're the persecuted, the rabbi is the hero, and it's all the attention is on quote-unquote anti-Semitism and white supremacy. And we have all the Zionists, like Breitbart's Joel Pollack says, U.S. anti-Semitism envoy Elon Carr told mourners at the Poway synagogue that Trump is passionate about taking the fight to the haters. That's what this is about. This is the problem, reaction, solution. This is what they want, so they can bring their fight to them. Just like after the synagogue shooting, Trump said that they're going to destroy anti-Semitism and that they're going to bring back the death penalty. And Elon Carr, who is the new anti-Semitism czar, I did a video on him last week, anti-Semitism czar press conference analysis. This guy went to Berkeley. He was in a Jewish fraternity. He got $100,000 from Sheldon Adelson, Trump's top campaign contributor. And I did an article. He's working closely with Chabad before this happened. And he's got close friends with Chabad rabbis. So he says, we are at war with these people. So they're at war with people who want to criticize Israel, or who just aren't with their Zionist Noahide law program. And the synagogue applauded when he noted that included those who hide anti-Semitism under the fig leaf of anti-Zionism. So you oppose their Zionist agenda, and they call you hate speech, and they want to censor you, which is what we've been seeing over and over and over again. Here is a little Zionist. She said after recently on The View that she's a Zionist, blaming Ilhan Omar for this, and then calling for social media to do more censorship.
With Christ Church, but that is a real issue.
Yeah, and one that I think that Silicon Valley should have their feet held to the fire. I do think when we're having conversations...
Silicon Valley should have their feet held to the fire. They want all criticism of Israel, any criticism of Israel at all, censored. That's what they want. That's what this agenda is all about. And, even just cartoons that accurately depict Netanyahu, showing this is Israel. It's the flag of Israel. We have to be able to use imagery to depict things, that represent things. Trump wearing his yarmulke, which he wore when he went to the wall. He's got blind glasses being led around by Netanyahu. It's fair. Look, Netanyahu brags that he got Trump to get out of the Iran deal. He brags that he got Trump to stay in Syria. He brags about getting Iran to be labeled as terrorist. Trump gives him every single thing he wants. The capital in Jerusalem, the Golan Heights, everything. And then, let's get real. Trump is so Zionist. The fact that they lose their minds, all the Zionists lose their minds over this, but they're all defiant and bold, and when they do their Draw Mohammed contest, but then they lose their minds like little triggered liberal snowflakes over a political cartoon. So no criticism at all is what they're going for. And then we got BuzzFeed News quoting the rabbi from the synagogue saying, quote, "We are a Jewish nation that will stand tall." Did you guys know that? The United States is a Jewish nation? I saw last week Christians were getting mad at Ben Shapiro and others for saying that it's a Judeo-Christian nation, that many Christians believe that's an oxymoron. But now they're just dropping the Christian, and it's just a Jewish nation that will stand tall. Very interesting. A Jewish nation. They want it to be a Noahide world order, all of the Gentiles following the Noahide laws under the Chabad rabbi's control. That's the plan. And then it says Trump called this rabbi, and listen to what he told the rabbi. Jewish Telegraph Agency. Trump calls rabbi at synagogue where fatal shooting attack took place. And he, quote, he spoke about his love of peace and Judaism and Israel. So Trump loves Israel, loves Judaism. You hear that, Christians? He loves Judaism and Israel. Hear that, America firsters? Our president loves a foreign country. You can't serve two masters. Imagine I have a wife and family and kids, and I just say, oh, I love another family in another country. You can't have split allegiance. It's just... It's insulting. This is making America great again. A president loving Israel and bending over and groveling at CPAC or ZPAC, excuse me, Zionist PAC or APEC or the Jewish Coalition. And the rabbi said he was, quote, amazed to hear an American president, and the call lasted 10 to 15 minutes. You shouldn't be amazed because Trump is completely surrounded by Chabad. Covered it in other videos. So this is some of the language we're seeing forcefully wherever it is found, however it takes form. Now it is time for action for a determined war. This is what they want. This is why this senseless act of violence, if we take it at face value, is so awful. It's what they want. It's everything the ADL wants. We forcefully condemn. That's the language. And forcefully, again, it's almost like the talking point goes out, like the liberals have of Easter worshipers. And then now this is the ambassador to Israel. Words, demonstrations, and cartoons turn into shootings. So that means no free speech. You don't have free speech to criticize Israel if they have their way. And anti-Semitism continues to take victims. Yeah, there's victims of every race and religion. Now is the time for action, for a determined war. They want a war on anti-Semitism. They want, and this is the language that's been going around. Oh, we cannot allow forces of hate to revive dark periods in history. No to anti-Semitism. So, war. They're declaring war. They say that they have to snuff out anti-Semitism in any shape or form. There needs to be zero tolerance. This language that they're saying, I mean, it's obvious to see. It's no criticism at all. It's essentially one of the Noahide laws that you're not allowed to curse Hashem, which is their God, but they consider themselves divine and God's chosen, so you're not allowed to criticize or speak harshly against them, their temples, their rabbis, their Torahs, anything. And that's where this is going. Did I have more? Oh, no, I guess that's it. So, again, Zionism exposed, Jewish temple prophecy exposed. They get caught up on all this stuff just in the last week. A week before this happens, I do this video. This is part 1, Anti-Semitism Czar press conference analysis. Part 2, Chabad and Noahide laws exposed. I'll put the links in the description. Very important to watch this one. And I just posted this too. I've been leaving this out, but this should be included. This is the Temple Institute rabbi talking about how they're going to impose the Noahide laws on the world, and the punishment and the consequences for the Gentiles that don't go along with the Noahide laws are, let's just say, they're not good. You can look it up themselves. It involves death and decapitation. So like, share, subscribe. No More News. Check out the playlist and nomorenews.org. Donate button, contact. I can't do this without you. Completely dependent on your support, and every dollar helps. That's all for now. I'm going to have a special guest in a video tomorrow. That's all for now. See you in the next video, guys. Thanks for watching.